What's good, baby?
Hey, baby girl.
How you doing?
I'm doing, look at me. Look at me up on that screen.
Oh
I
my
look
God.
tan. My hair looks good. I look jacked. I'm feeling good. I've been transmuting for about, 2 weeks now. Transmuting or maybe 3 weeks.
You want to tell people what that is? I don't know if people know what transmuting is.
Transmuting,
Yeah.
I guess, negative energy into positive energy in so many ways. Or transmuting it into working negative energy. I just had a really aggressive client call.
Yeah.
One of the hardest client calls that I've had, but I needed to
You want to talk about why it was difficult?
No.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into that.
Okay.
I'm just going to say that it was a challenge. And then on the walk home, because we do our pre-podcast walk and workout and chat, stopped to get a coffee. I had my client conversation, and then as we're on the final leg of the walk, we had an altercation with a homeless man.
I mean, it wasn't an altercation. He was spitting in our direction. I was like,
No, it wasn't just spitting. He was spitting at us.
Yeah, I was like, if he spits on us.
And he also came directly. He was coming at us.
For sure.
Also aggressively and yelling at us. And
in the middle of 7th Street, at the stoplight.
Yeah, but. Your boy has been transmuting, and that was another example where I needed to let the negative energy out effectively, and I let it out the right way. I let it out through my eyes.
Yeah.
And that guy stood down is the way I would describe it. Would you not?
Oh, for sure. He saw that look in your eye and was like, I'm not fucking with him, and just turned around and went the other way.
Yeah. It was actually, I felt like I had magic powers almost.
Yeah, he just all of a sudden stopped talking and turned around.
He was spitting and yelling at us and walking directly at us as we're crossing the street. And I just caught him in the eyes and I just kept walking, but my eyes stayed fixated on him. And he I don't know what else to describe it. He literally just stood down. He looked kind of sad, animal,
Yeah.
kind of like the Rottweiler that used to bark at us, and now he doesn't like us so much anymore. Now he just he has that same look. But and then also you blasted me with pheromones immediately afterwards.
Because you protected me.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, yeah.
I was I literally was like, how much did?
I got tingly from it.
I know. I didn't think it smelled. I could smell your pheromones, not your tingliness necessarily, but maybe that's what it was. Because I was literally like, that turns you on, didn't it? And you're like, maybe.
Yeah. But again, I felt like I didn't have to worry about anything. You put yourself between me and that guy because he was coming towards in my direction, and you got between us and pushed me away, and then
I didn't push you away.
Pushed it could get away.
Energetically pushed you away.
Oh yeah. You're gonna throw me into traffic.
But yeah, that was interesting. That just happened.
Yeah.
But aside from that, taking all the challenges over the last again, there's not all challenges. Everything is actually fucking awesome, but the biggest challenges that we face that are kind of at the crux of the entire mission here that we're on.
The biggest challenge has been the Holly House,
Yes.
but then let's talk about the positives that you transmuted that towards. Holly, obviously, with the offer.
Listen, I think Johnny, our realtor, must think I'm the biggest sweetheart in the world because I've been nothing but pleasant to him on every single conversation that we've had. I'm a little bit more high today than I normally am.
I know, bring it back. So Holly,
the
offer fell through.
Yeah.
It did not go through last week.
We said, I think, right before the last episode, we had a call where it sounded like maybe things could still work out. Yep. And then about less than 48 hours later, it was dead in the water is the way I would describe it. So, so I'm taking all that energy and I'm transmuting it into positive energy, into action, into clearer direction and clearer plan. I put a whole my priority project plan, my next 3-month sprint together, March, April, May, in terms of what we're going to be doing for the business and our main priorities. Not again, the way I structure my stuff is I have my day-to-day priorities, my daily routines, my regular business operations stuff. But then focus on project-oriented scripts, growth-oriented, not scripts, I'm sorry, sprints, growth-oriented sprints for 2 to 3 months at a time, where I week by week plot out what projects I'm going to be working on to help build more leverage or drive more value, or maybe like shore up something that's already out there, make it better. So yeah, I feel not only very clear on the next several months, at least like far more clear than I did before putting this next sprint together, but really kind of like pumped about it and excited about it because it's all fun stuff for the most part. Again, last year was a lot of operations and figuring out like processes and systems, which I don't love to do. I do happen to be good at it, like structuring that from a high level, but I don't like to get down in the weeds with that kind of stuff, which is why we have my fantastic assistant, Katelyn, administrative assistant, who is like just, again, I always say how helpful she is and like invaluable she is at this point. But this one is more like promotion oriented, marketing oriented, like top of funnel, getting people's eyeballs on us in a meaningful way, and not just like in a social media content way, which is another thing that we've been working on over the last several months, but in a more like in-person, create real community coming out of Fast Fest.
Yeah, and that was like such a good example of that, and like what there's to come because of what we were able to like create and foster. Yeah. And it just felt so like natural and organic. Yeah. So I feel like it's going to be pretty easy moving forward.
And without saying too much, there is.
I know I was on the say.
Oh,
like,
that's what you. That's what you. That's what I was
trying to get to. Like how you're transmuting like this negative things that happened into like using it and like being like powerful and taking the lead and charge in like these kind of big things that you had last week. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say too much about the other thing, but I'll just say that there's
we'll tease it.
An opportunity has presented itself that has kind of been in talks for maybe 6 months or so at this point. And without, again, saying too much, it would be the perfect thing for us right now, like the absolute aside from getting rid of the houses or the house, the Holly house specifically, that would be the biggest, coolest, most perfect thing that could happen for us. And I am basically, just like I did to that homeless man on the street, staring that opportunity in the eye with intense ferocity.
For sure.
And making it bend to my will.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at right now, without, again, going into too much detail.
But it's great. I mean, it's like a very good opportunity, and you're taking the lead and taking the charge with it, and just.
I'm letting this situation unfold and doing my best to
guide it and
channel the energies into the proper area, and including my own component of it. So that's where we're at with that, which again, all good stuff aside from Holly, which makes me go like, if God is giving us all this other stuff, and putting so many other awesome pieces in place, and like blessing us in so many ways, then why would I be upset about what's happening with Holly? Obviously, it's like for the best in the long run. Some way, shape, or form. It's not for me to understand. So instead, I am going to continue to transmute it and scare you when you see the look in my eye that I get when I do transmute it. The look I gave that guy is probably the same one that you said you were afraid of last week when I talked about like when I transmuted it here on the couch. Yeah. And yeah, that's kind of been the mode I've been in for the last couple weeks. And look, it shows. Look, I got my tan back. I've been grounding again since it's been warm and it hasn't been raining. I've been able to lay out in the grass in the park again. It's like everything has reset itself. Nature has righted.
Why do you like to ground?
I think that it helps me drain negative energy out of my body.
Yeah.
I think it helps me like. I think it genuinely like takes a lot of like the energy that you're carrying with you that's either dead or disturbed or like needs to go. Yeah. And I think it like the earth helps pull it out of you. And
do you do it for like a certain amount of time?
Resonate your frequency.
Do you do it for a certain amount of time, or you do it just like based on like how you're feeling?
I guess I do it as long as I can.
Yeah.
On what is that? Friday, I think I went to the park, and it was the first time I really like grounded in a long time. And I just like laid there on my back for a long time, and then on my front for a little bit, but probably like 20 minutes or so. And then the other day on Saturday, we did it over there on that hill for not even, just a few minutes. Yeah. But like, I will say, like, and maybe it's all placebo or something. I think that there's a ton of truth to grounding.
I mean, there are people that start their day with like going outside barefoot and stepping on the grass and like getting the sun on them, if the sun is out, obviously, but like
very important. And I kind of don't like that we have the turf in the back here. Yeah. The thing is, it would be a mud pit otherwise. It's not like it would be nice grass, so like I can't be too upset that we have the turf. But I wish that we had real grass out there so I could go out and ground back here. And then the front yard is just like it's a little too
with the
loud
cars
to
driving
like
by and stuff.
To be good for grounding, but it's something that I'm looking forward to the sun being out more and it being warmer and being able to get back to it as much as possible. I miss my tan too.
You just love your tan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at myself here. I'm like, damn, I missed it.
You're gonna have about a little bit more in about a month.
Yeah,
when we go to Mexico.
I know, I can't
wait. Another one you had last week, your podcast.
My podcast.
Well, you as a guest on a podcast.
Which was very cool. I was on the Willpower podcast. Will Mulvaney, who.
Yeah, how'd you meet him? How did it all come about?
It's actually kind of interesting. So we had David Kirkpatrick on a few weeks ago. The same walk that I met him at about a year or more ago, a little over a year ago. The Boardwalks walk that goes around Town Lake every Saturday morning, and people who go to that walk love it. In fact, I was talking to JJ again on Friday, and he brought it up too.
Really?
Yeah. Which again, synchronicities. And I had coffee with Garrett on Friday, and he had brought it up, and he always goes there. He's the reason I went in the first place. Yeah. So I think we need, like, I feel like
you're getting pulled to it?
I'm getting pulled to it. I don't love that I have to be, like, downtown at 8 o'clock in the morning or something, actually before that. On a Saturday, I have strong, powerful starts to my morning all week. On Saturday, like, I like to be able to catch a little bit of extra sleep. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't been going, but I want to go back. Anyway, the same.
Well, let's go back.
I know. I know that I know that if you're going with me, you'll like make it happen. If I'm left to my own devices, I'm not going to prioritize it. If you want to prioritize it and make it a thing that we do, and I'll put you in charge of like making me get there, then we'll do it. Okay. All right. Yeah. See, that's how we delegate things from time to time, where it's like, I know that I will not prioritize that. Yeah. I will not put the energy into making that a reality on my own. If you're showing initiative and it's something that you really want to do, and it doesn't have to be every week, but like if you're the one who's in charge of like keeping that at the forefront of your mind on a regular basis, and you're like, we're going to do it this weekend, then I go, okay, that works. Yeah. I don't have a reason to say no.
Yeah, and especially if like you're saying, like you feel like a lot of people have been mentioning it to you, like why not go check it out and see who's there, what conversations we can have, and I mean, how long is the walk?
Like an hour and a half, maybe. Yeah. It's a great way to start your day too. Yeah. That was a cool like demonstration of how we kind of like handle that kind of stuff, right? Yeah, for sure. Because I do want to go. Yeah. I just don't want to go badly enough to. I know that I'm not going to put the effort in to make it happen on my own.
I know, and there are certain things like on your like things to prioritize and plan and do, like versus mine is like I have on like my calendar to look at weekends that we're going to go out and like volunteer community first, and because those are things that like I prioritize and like put and like those are things that I have to like schedule and then just say like, hey, we're going to go do
you have a more emotional tie to those things, so it's easier for you to keep it at the front of your mind, care about it, and put the effort in to make sure that we fit it into our calendar. There's certain things that I take that role, or honestly, like probably most things I take that role when it comes to like activities that we do, quite frankly. But like, and then like, yeah, I guess, I don't know, was that interesting?
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
It just shows how we like go about planning and scheduling our stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sure.
I think that's like not necessarily normal. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Give us feedback. Let us know.
Yeah. Is that weird? Or is that normal? Or is that like, oh, that's interesting. Like that's a good, cool little takeaway.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. That's how we do it.
Yeah.
And it works. But anyway, so you met him on the walk.
So the podcast I was on last week, I met Will on that walk. Because the idea is like you're constantly speaking with people. It's a networking walk. And they tell you specifically, like, don't spend any more than X number of minutes with a person. Like, when the conversation is done, you just say, great conversation, I'm going to move on to the next person. Because they say you want to talk to, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 people throughout the course of the hour and a half. So, like, the goal is to speak to as many people as possible. And I remember a few of the things that we had mentioned during the conversation. I knew that he said he had a podcast, but it was a different podcast at the time. And, you know, it was my first time at that walk. So I met a bunch of people who were there regularly. I stood out to everybody as being like a new guy.
Yeah.
I'm sure I stood out for a few reasons, but I stood out specifically because I was a new guy there. And it was kind of funny how many people like remember me from that particular walk, and how many people have like stayed connected to as well. So a few months ago, maybe 2 months ago, Will reached out to me saying, hey, I have a podcast. Julia Dars, who we've also had on our podcast, recommended you as a guest. And I also, like, we met about a year ago on the walk, and I was like, I couldn't put a name to fate or to a story at that point. So I wasn't exactly sure. And then when we met for coffee a couple weeks ago, I was like, oh yeah, no, I do remember you. Yeah. So like we caught up, and I went up to his house about 20 minutes north of here last Wednesday, and we just talked for probably about 2 hours. I talked for like 2 hours. I was just like,
shocking.
Look at this. It was not much different from this podcast.
I was be like, it's an hour. We got to wrap this up.
It was basically like 40 episodes of this. I think we're at like episode like 42 now or something.
I think this is 41 because David was 40.
No, we had one, so this is 42.
Oh, this is 42, yeah.
Yeah. So we have 42 episodes, and that 2 hours was me like cramming all 42 episodes into like that one episode of his podcast.
But it flowed well? Like you're happy with how it all?
I think I crushed it, honestly. Like I think that I did awesome. I felt really good about like the answers to like answering his questions. And while I talked a lot, I don't think that I was over talking or over explaining. I think I like hit it. I did my best Tony Robbins impression of like going to my bits.
Your points.
My points that I knew I like was, you know, interested in making, and like pulling like the different tricks out of my bag, but not having like a script, like just knowing like what to go to when the time is right, which is really like peeking behind the curtain. That's what I love about Tony Robbins is like he shows up on a podcast. You could watch, he usually does them, when he does like a press tour. Yeah. So every time he comes out with a book or he has something to promote, he'll do a dozen podcasts. Yep. And the funny thing is, on those podcasts, the interviewer rarely speaks, even if it's like a famous like interviewer who usually like is engaging a lot more. Tony Robbins has his things he's gonna say. Yep. He takes ownership of the conversation. And he says the same thing in every podcast, but it's not said in the same way, or I should say it's not said like in the same order, and with all the same structure. It's just he has all of these bits and all of these stories, and he knows how to
work them in,
and to the framework.
He was doing that like press tour like last month or whatever it was, and I caught him on like a couple of podcasts, and by like this third podcast, I heard the same story at that point, but he says it. Like he's telling it for the first time. Yep. It is fucking impressive. And like it's so engaging. I know. It always comes back to us.
It's engaging, but that's the thing is it's engaging.
It's so engaging every single time.
And
For sure.
like I said, when I went to the Tony Robbins UPW, as much as I was there to like learn about myself and have my own personal breakthrough, I really was just there to watch that man perform.
Yeah.
And it was beyond what I could have ever expected it to be. And like, I want to be the short jack Tony Robbins. I believe I am I know I am the short jack Tony Robbins. And having an opportunity to go on somebody else's podcast and talk for 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
For sure.
And to feel like I had enough stories to tell and things to say and like points of, apparent value, in my opinion, like value to bring. And it wasn't just like sloppy and all over the place, but it made sense and flowed logically. I felt great about it. It felt really cool. So that'll be released, I think, in like mid-April.
Nice.
Or something like that.
Were there any questions that you were surprised by, or that you were like really like made you pause and have to think through the answer?
Well, there was one thing that I thought was, I didn't have to think about any answers, but there were 3 questions that all had the same answer, and I thought that was really fascinating.
It's fascinating.
It was how fascinating. Another Tony Robbins reference. So it's so funny because, again, I've been to one Tony Robbins event.
I know.
And you've never been to one.
I've never been to one, but yet my mom 2 weeks ago texted you being like, Tony Robbins is on this thing. I'm like, oh my God.
I got a brand.
That and gorillas.
Tony Robbins is almost a billionaire, so for people to
That's true.
assume that I am like Tony Robbins, I'm like, for sure, that's fine. He's the man. So, what was
the 3 questions with the same answer.
I told the story about me leaving my job and starting the podcast and like not really having an idea of like what we were going to do and having to, so just like, okay, I'm going to personal train, I'm going to podcast, I'm going to write a book, etc. The story I tell 1,000 times. Again, one of my bits. One of my Tony Robbins-esque bits, I guess. But I told that, and then he said, if you lost everything and you had to start from scratch and you had nothing, no network, no money, nothing whatsoever, what would you do? And I was like, well, I'd do the exact same thing that I did at the beginning of this year, which is just do all the things that I wanted to do, only like now I have no pressure on me. Now I just can just do it and like actually have fun, and there's no like timeline or like additional pressures on me. It's like it actually would be better, like in some ways, like and he was like, so that was interesting how like what I did when I had, I guess, a lot to lose is the same I would do if I had absolutely nothing to lose. That feels good. And then he goes, well, what does your perfect life look like? And I was like, it doesn't look much different than what I'm doing now. I'm podcasting. I love coaching my clients. I get to spend a whole lot of time in the gym. You and I get to like walk home and walk around their neighborhood and walk to and from the gym. And it was actually like the day after we walked to the gym together and you worked out and I trained a client, and then we just walked home together and we had dinner and we sat down. And it's like, that's like a beautiful day. Like, and I said, would I love to have like an extravagant like resort style pool and a Lamborghini in the garage and like, I said, a sex room for like us, like our own like sex room, like all that kind of like fancy stuff. Like, that would probably,
fancy stuff.
I'd be like, like that would certainly be cool, but like that wouldn't like make or break, shouldn't make or break your life.
Yeah, because that can all just be taken away.
So like that's all stuff that like will come with time. The more I just do the things that I enjoy doing and like can drive value doing and provide value doing. So it was at the worst, at where I am now, and at my best, all were the same answer, which is like doing what I'm doing right now. So that was something that I felt like I walked away going like, that's kind of cool because it's the truth.
Sure,
I didn't just like say that; it's like the absolute truth. Yeah, which is sweet.
Well, I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it either. I don't know how much like editing he does to it, so we'll see.
I mean, I really can't wait to see it, and I'm proud that you did it.
Thank you.
And more to come.
Many more to come. Rogan soon enough. Soon enough.
What stories are you going to tell Rogan?
All the same ones. All the same ones. Yeah. Didn't you hear what I said? It's going to be the exact same thing over and over again.
Oh my! You gotta come up with something new for him.
Well, I mean, it'll continue to evolve.
You would get into like alien shit and the interdimensional beings and all those things.
That's
for
what
sure.
I told him. I was like, I can talk about anything you want. I was like, I could talk about interdimensional aliens for 2 hours, or I could talk about my to-do list for 2 hours. So whatever you want me to talk about, I'm good. It was definitely leaned more on the to-do list side of things than the interdimensional alien side of things.
Your next one,
which is something I've been thinking a lot about the last couple of weeks as I'm transmuting. I'm partially losing it, but it's okay.
I mean, I don't understand.
It's fun. It's been a lot of fun.
I think
I think I'm gonna read this conversation I was having with ChatGPT. That's like That's like me losing it, kind of. We're only 28 minutes into this thing. I feel like we've been going forever.
No.
Okay, whatever. I'm having fun.
I
am having fun.
But like I said, I think there's going to be more podcasts to come. And that's super, super exciting.
Yeah.
But we also just have a lot now coming off of Fast Fest, as we mentioned, a lot going on, like month of March. It's our birthday month.
Yeah.
We got South by. We have like networking things planned. We have dinners that are like catch up / like network dinners. And I feel like we're about to like take off like in all different ways.
Yeah.
And I know you're doing a lot of planning for it, but
take off how?
Just with like the networking events, like a lot of things to like get the business like going and getting us out there. And like you said, not just a social media aspect, but us going in.
We were just asked
to events. Yeah.
We were just asked to be well, first off, it was really cool doing Fast Fest with more facilitators this year because it just allowed us to kind of work. A lot of the stuff we've done in the past has really just been us with like maybe a couple other people involved. And I'm kind of a control freak, so it really just becomes like me managing it all, which is something that I have to do better. And ChatGPT definitely let me know that, and I totally agree with it, by the way. What was I even saying?
So the fact that Fast Fest, we had a lot of facilitators with us.
So this time we got to get a better understanding of not just partnering with people, but partnering with them in a way where like all the different coordination, like the coordination is all over the place based on the specific person. It's not like everybody's getting the same like blueprint for what to do. It's different locations, different settings, different like services that are being offered more or less. Which was fun and I enjoyed and taught me a lot, and we made really good connections.
For sure.
Which I think will continue to like be really like fruitful for everybody and valuable for everybody moving forward. And then our friend just yesterday sent us a voice memo saying that she wants us to like be a judge in this event that she does again, I won't say too much, but like be because there's so much that still needs to be figured out about it, but us be judges for this pretty like really cool, really awesome, and really well produced event that she's been doing once a month that has continuously grown and gotten bigger and gotten a lot more like engagement for it. So even just like being asked to do that is like, hell yeah, okay, like
for sure.
We're kind of like it's feels like there's, like you said, like it's happening. Like people are starting to recognize like what we could bring to the table, which is cool. And again, we're just bringing it up on the podcast because this is like the truth. This is the truth of it. Like I wanted to document how our brand grows over time.
Yeah.
And I think of course this podcast is a part of that. And
having David on like last week was huge. We realized we had a major mess up in our link.
Oh yeah.
For that.
Like for the last couple months, I've noticed, especially on YouTube, the podcast number is starting to dip a little bit. And I was like, well, I guess like we are just kind of saying the same thing here every single week. Like not that, like I guess it's to be expected, which is one of the reasons why we wanted to get guests on. It turns out that our link for YouTube was broken in like all of our link trees. So like people weren't getting to it. And then this week, not only did we release the David episode, who has a following of his own to begin with, but we found out that the link was broken and like the numbers were right back up where I would expect them to be, which is cool. So partially on me, but definitely like, again, shows like, okay, like that is an area where traction will we'll start to see traction from having more people on, more guests on, and we already have like a handful of people that we've discussed about doing it. So like showing you how the sausage is made over here with our life. That's what it is. I mean, that's the truth.
Yeah. You want to talk about your project plans?
I guess so, if that's at all interesting whatsoever. But I think
like the events that we, like the workshop that we're thinking, wanting to put together.
So how can I go through this? I guess I'll do it the same way that I created my project plan. It was by the brand, so True Fitness or Supernova, and then there was like, how can we have in-person events? What would that look like? What kind of like remote events or services can we offer? And then what would the lead magnet be for all of those things? Meaning like, what kind of like free thing can I give to people to get them into our universe or our brand, get them into our leads list, get them into our
like a funnel.
Like a funnel, basically. I don't want to call, like, it's not a traditional like coaching lead funnel where I'm gonna be like, DM me like like jacked to get jacked today. Like, I don't want to think of it that way. I want it to be more based on in-person interactions for the most part. So for True Fitness and Focus, I've realized, again, I'm a massive proponent of meditation. Can't be a bigger proponent of meditation. It's the one thing that you're not doing right now that you should be doing, and you should be doing it every day for at least 5 minutes. And I have a lot of friends who I'm telling that to for a really long time, and it seems like a couple of them are ready to actually give it like a real concerted effort. And I was thinking I was going to do just like a quick like little meditation workshop or something and just invite some guys to come join, but I realized like that's really not doing service to the practice of meditation, to do it like in a workshop seminar kind of like form. The way that you would really start to understand what meditation is to do it more consistently and more regularly, and to not make it like a breakdown of how to meditate.
Like a workshop of
but to actually like get into the practice of it. So I'm gonna do, I mean, this is all part of what I have to, like, the next phase and what I'm gonna focus on next week. But coming up with a regular, I think it's gonna be on Sundays, meditation group, like a men's meditation group. I think I'm gonna call it Stoic Sundays. That's TBD, but that's like the working name right now. Stoic Sundays. We're a bunch of dudes. Maybe we start here. We walk over to the park together. We sit down. I'll probably just say a few things about meditation, why it's valuable, how we're going to do it, and what you should be maybe looking for at the end, and just guide them through like a 15 or 20-minute meditation in the park, a place where like, you know, guys can feel free to like not be, you know, too intimidated or whatever. It's just like for you to come and like experience it and get into a more regular rhythm. So not only do you do that as a group, and does it create some level of accountability, but of course then you can go back and do it yourself. And I have my guided meditations that I had recorded last year, a little bit at the end, towards the end of last year, and I can like give that to them too. And now it's kind of like I'm cultivating a community of masculine meditators, I guess you could say. I'm teaching them how to do it, and not only do I know that will help them, but if they can then pass that on to more people, now I'm doing my part to help expand what I genuinely believe to be the best thing that you can do for yourself every single day.
And then for yourself, which then also makes you just better for everyone else in your life and around you and your surroundings and the whole entire consciousness of the universe.
So that is like the event that I'm going to be doing. And then I am going to also make it so that those meditations, those guided meditations are available on my through my link tree or through my website for people to download. And again, like that would allow me to have access to their contact information in exchange for that. So now they're on the email list. And then I'm also probably going to create a couple other lead magnets. I think I'm going to put my lesson videos out for people because I'm really proud of those. And I've had more and more people that have asked for them. So I think rather than like making it something that you have to go through me to get, I could just say like, hey, it's like in my link tree, like just go download it, or it's on my website, just go download those. Again, in exchange for like contact info. And then the last thing was just going to be like a workout program, because so many people just like ask for workout programs, and it's funny because like people think the workout program is like the answer to their problems, and it's like, it's not. If you think it is, then like I'm happy to just, it's nothing to me to like give somebody a 4-day bro split workout, the exact same one that I do, and say, here, have at it. Like, if it helps you get motivated enough to get into the gym and like make a change, okay, great. It's not going to be the thing. It's not going to be the silver bullet. You're going to need my assistance for the execution of it and the accountability component. So I'm happy to like not put that behind some sort of like a paywall. And again, it's like you could get that from anywhere too. So I'm basically saying it's not going to be of much value, but people ask me for it a lot. For sure. So I'm like, sure, I will just make that for free. It's yours. But you're giving me your email and your phone number for it, and you're opting into marketing emails. So that's on the true fitness and focus side. All stuff that I think is like fun and good, and like stuff that I'm like.
I love the idea of the meditation.
I really
the Stoic Sundays. Yeah. I mean, I think it will help a lot of people.
I know it will. Yeah. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
So that's that, and then for Supernova, couple cool ideas. We have our 60 Synergy Couples Challenge, a 60-day couples focused relationship challenge. Essentially, there's 5 components to it. There are workouts, and again, this is something that you need to do together as a couple over the course of 60 days. I guarantee, without question, if you do this thing over the course of 60 days, you will have, you're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to be in better shape. You're going to be in better health without question. You are going to have such a deeper connection romantically and otherwise with your partner. And you are going to have such a more clear understanding of what your future together can look like, and have real like burning fire and desire and drive to become the best version of yourselves as individuals and yourselves as a couple and yourself like in your life, like more broadly, if you do these things over the course of 60 days. So those 5 things are workouts, 30-minute workouts together, any kind of movement, walking, yoga, go to the gym, ride a bike, even go for a walk, whatever the case might be. Just get out and do something active with your partner for 30 minutes. There's a meal, screen-free meal, which just basically means like you sit down and eat together as a couple and put your fucking phones down and don't put on Netflix. Just actually have a conversation about what happened today. Yeah, sorry guys, like you have to talk about what happened during your day today.
Yeah, tell us about your day.
And you have to sit there and listen to your wife or your girlfriend tell you what happened, and like not just pretend to care, but actually care.
And note if she's saying something that's bothering her, it's probably not actually it. It's probably something underlying like that actually is going on.
But here's the thing. None of that is necessarily a part of the challenge, but like
it's going to be something they learn.
It's going to be something that will make a massive difference over the course of 60 days. So screen-free meal is 2. Third is
like affirmations.
An affirmation that you give to your partner every day. I love the idea of you do it in bed before you fall asleep at night. You give each other a hug and a kiss, and you tell them something that either you're grateful for when it comes to them, something maybe they did that day, or just like an affirmation of something that like you're appreciative of them. Like you have the most beautiful green eyes with that little bit of brown on top of the one iris, or whatever the case may be. Or like, I'm really happy that you did the dishes tonight.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it has to be a different affirmation or different gratitude that you're showing every day.
And even if there's a little bit of tension between the couple,
you still
say
have to
they're like got in a little argument before, they still have to do it at nighttime.
Every single day. The other is to create a vision board or some sort of list, some sort of like written down understanding of what you want out of life. I like the idea of a vision board because I think it's the most fun and interactive and engaging. But throughout the course of that 60 days, you create a little bit of a clearer picture of what you both want out of life together. And the final thing is you just go on an adventurous date of some sort once a week over the course of those 60 days. So that's about 8 dates, or it is 8 dates. Something that you've never done before together, something that's new, and something that maybe pushes you outside of your comfort zone a little bit. If you do all of those things over the course of...
Dance classes, some art classes, some... What else can they go do? We'll figure that out. We'll give them some examples. I know.
Really anything.
But like, I just not like just go to dinner and a movie. Like it has to be like...
Unless you've never gone to dinner and a movie before, then it counts. But I imagine that you probably have. If that's maybe that's adventurous.
Yeah, that might be a big thing for people. Who knows?
And if so, then like you need this. I'll just say that. So if you do those things over the course of 60 days, it will like transform the way you're looking at yourself, the way you're looking at how you're bringing yourself to your relationship, how you're going to look at your partner differently.
That for sure.
You're going to look at the connection between you very differently. You're going to go, well, I'm actually like, there was so much more gas in the tank that I wasn't offering to my partner. You were giving them the scraps at the end of your day after the work and traffic and all the other things that you deal with on a regular basis, took all the best parts of you. You come home and like you give your partner whatever's left over. That's not the way it should be. Now it's forcing you to prioritize your relationship. If of course you accept the challenge and you commit to it. It's forcing you to think about how we're going to get these things done, how we're going to fit them in. And it's not like, well, I know I'm supposed to do a screen-free meal, but like I'm gonna send some emails out while I do it, or whatever the case is. It's like you're making that time. You're prioritizing that time. You're prioritizing your relationship, and I know that will have massive impacts for people.
For sure,
massive
like the connection, the emotional connection. Like there's gonna be such an impact on people for it or with it.
I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I messed up my words and I said with it.
It doesn't matter. I keep over talking because I'm really high right now.
And you're doing this.
I'm sorry, baby.
You're doing this.
Am I doing that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm doing this?
Like this.
That's a huge power mudra.
I know.
I'm doing this the whole time.
Yeah, you were talking.
Like Bashar.
Yeah.
I'm channeling. I told you I'm channeling right now. That's why I'm over talking. I'm high. I'm channeling from the other dimensions.
Oh.
Just like the very great Bashar.
Bashar.
YouTube him if you don't know who Bashar is. That's my guy. Although The Alchemist.
Yeah, you love her too.
Is even better.
I think she's not channeling. She's just.
No, she's just.
That's just all in her.
Bitch.
Yeah.
She's smart. She's really smart. Okay. So that was 60 synergy. So the way that's going to work is it's going to be we have basically a big pamphlet coming out, binder, PDF, that will have all the information in it with ideas and like the rules and even a habit tracker so that you can track all these habits over the course of those 60 days. All these keys. We're calling them relationship keys.
So you should make it a habit. It should just be part of your life.
Yeah.
Components.
So that will be that. Plus, we want to start it all together with a single cohort. So we're going to make it so that we'll make it so that people can kind of do it on their own. But I would like to launch it as a single 60-day cohort where everybody's involved together. And we're going to have a Telegram community as well so that people can like engage with each other, other couples, kind of builds community in a Telegram channel as you're going through this challenge together and sharing like maybe insights or interesting like updates or progress, which I think is cool. And then we also, to launch it, will be doing a Power, Passion, Purpose couples workout and workshop. We don't know exactly what this is going to look like just yet, but we know that we want it to be 3 components: power, passion, purpose. So it's going to be for couples to come, probably a limited number of couples, but probably like maybe 8 to 12 if I had to guess. Workout, a passion workshop, which we're kind of have a few ideas on what that might look like. Something where you're going to be working together and maybe communicating in an interesting way, maybe like crafting something of some sort. We'll figure that out.
Yeah, we got to get high and figure that one out.
I have some really cool ideas. But it should be like, it's going to be like, it's going to be fun. It's going to help you work together on something and collaborate in a way where you
coach and communicate and
And then the final component will be the purpose part, where together you're working to determine something about your future together. Or that's the one that's going to be the hardest probably to like truly wrap our minds around. But I know that we're going to be able to figure it out. We're going to be able to do it. And I'm really looking forward to it because I know that we'll be able to like knock that one out of the park.
For sure.
And it won't even take all that much, like nearly the kind of effort that like a Fast Fest would take. Or the kind of effort that like the next thing we'll talk about will take.
Yeah.
Do
you want to talk about that one?
Do you have anything to say? I feel like you're just like letting me ramble.
No. I'm talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have nothing else to say about 60 Synergy or the Power, Passion, Purpose workshop, which is not, probably not going to be called that.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't wait to do 60 Synergy. At Fast Fest, I was like promoting it. I was like, so our next thing is going to be this. And I was telling people like about it because I think it's going to be very helpful. It's simple, easy things for couples to do to get closer, communicate better, recognize like if their partner, like you said, like it was a great thing that you said, when a person gets home from work, they're drained, they're giving like the scraps of what they have left of themselves to their partner. How does that make their partner feel, and vice versa? And the like idea of like, wow, like I am not showing up for my partner the way I probably should be.
Yeah.
Like that's going to really impact the relationship.
Or when you
and you're gonna be able to recognize like when your partner is struggling, you're just like, you'll be able to like really be able to recognize that and connect with it and help them.
Yep.
So I think it's gonna be huge.
I think it's gonna help people realize like there is more that they can give.
For sure.
To those things, or like
or is it like the relationship that you want to be in? If you're not willing to give into that, you might recognize.
Well, maybe, maybe.
I'm just saying.
I mean, we said like we shot a reel this weekend where we said like, hey, some people aren't supposed to be together. That's fine. Like some couples should break up. Some couples don't need coaching. They need to break up. And if you're going through something like that, or if like, you really want to do something and your partner is like really against doing something like that for some reason, like maybe that's a sign that something's up.
Yeah.
I'm fine with saying that. Like being in a bad relationship is like being in a relationship that you're not supposed to be in is worse than just recognizing that you have to call it quits. For sure. Like it's infinitely worse.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then that kind of, I guess, brings us to, it's a good segue into the final thing.
Yeah.
That at this point is it's a fetus of an idea.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But we had it last week, and it has been a really fun idea to be playing with. And the more that we kind of like bounce it around, and we've now had the opportunity to, I guess, discuss it with like a couple people like pretty tentatively, and it seems to be something that clicks, which is what we would call a detox dating workshop, because the reason why your relationship might be struggling doesn't necessarily, it's not like all of a sudden one day the relationship became bad. It's like there was a series of events that led up to that didn't even start at the third date. It didn't start at the first date. It didn't start in the DMs that you were sending back and forth. It started way beforehand, before you even like knew who the other person was, and it was the way that you were approaching the situation to begin with. Like, it's about looking at yourself. We've said in the past that there's way too much of a focus these days on like the idea of like red flags and icks. And of course there's a victim culture, like a victimhood culture that has crept into our society over the last decade or more. And with that, it's like, oh, the people around me are toxic, or all the people that I'm dating, they're all so toxic. And it's like, it's kind of like if everybody around you is an asshole, like that's where you have to look at yourself and go like,
who's
maybe
the common
I'm
denominator?
The asshole. Yeah, who's the common denominator here? If everybody that you're dating or everybody that you know is toxic, maybe you should look in the mirror and see what you're doing that's causing other people to react that way.
Yeah, and like, what are you doing to like draw that to you? Like, it's like,
or draw it to you.
You're like attracting it for some reason. What are you putting out there?
Yep. So, it's called Detox Dating, because it's, rather than looking at all like the toxic people, it's gonna play both ways, where it's like we're talking and looking at the toxic behavior of other people, but then we're turning that around on the individual to go, well, but also like, what am I doing that could fix that, or that could solve that, or that could make sure that never becomes an issue for me in the dating world. So, without going into like too much more details and like specifics, because I don't think it's necessary, because honestly we don't have like a clear enough vision on it right now. I won't say much more, but it would be for singles and for people who are couples, because it will resonate with both. But I think
even if you're a couple, you should be dating each other.
Exactly, and if you're and if you're not dating each other, then you need something like this. And again, like as a couple, we've been together for over 20 years, and we still date regularly. Like I am courting you. I'm consistently courting you and dating you, and protecting you from homeless people.
That's for sure. But you court, like you said it earlier, like, I plan everything else. Like, as you should. Like, I'm not going to worry about like where you're taking me out to dinner, or where we're going to go for the night. Like, you plan that, and like, surprise me.
Yep. And because most of it comes down to understanding masculine and feminine behaviors and masculine and feminine patterns, and what a man should be doing in a relationship. And again, that goes, and the relationship meaning in the first DM that he sends after he swipes right, if that's how you decide to start dating, which again, I wouldn't recommend, but that is part of a relationship, right? It's the DMs that you send, how you approach the first date, how do you approach the second date, how do you approach the third date, how do you approach the 12,000th date. I don't even know how many dates we've been on. Yeah. But like, how do you approach that stuff? Are you approaching it with the right masculine, like, framework and the right masculine mindset and actions? And then for a woman too, it's like, if you're constantly putting up your masculine defenses and you're not allowing yourself to be, the receiver of the love and the affection and the attention and the actions that the man is providing for you, you're supposed to have that defense up a little bit, but it can't be so much so that the guy has no idea where he stands. And
for sure,
because there's a massive imbalance in the way that the dating scene is set up right now. And just because, like, again, men are too feminine and women are too masculine, something we've mentioned countless times. So even though I think it will resonate the most with single people, it really is relevant to everybody, for sure, single or otherwise. So Detox Dating, the way I foresee it, to go back to the Tony Robbins thing, is Tony Robbins does these interventions at his seminars, I guess, and depending on what they're talking about, they'll pick somebody out. He'll ask somebody who like has like the problem that they're talking about.
Yeah.
He'll pick them out, ask them questions, and he can like just dissect somebody mentally and emotionally and dissect every pattern of behavior that they have. I tend to think that I'm actually also like a master at that, which is why I resonate with Tony Robbins so much. Only he's like, again, such a showman of it too. And I would love to make this something where we can do something like that as part of this Detox Dating event where like we go, okay, like here's a supposed like red flag. Like who hates those red flags? And like everybody raises their hand and we go, okay, you come up here. Why do you hate it? Let's talk through it.
Yep.
How do you react when that happens? And now like we're starting to like, again, turn the mirror on that person a little bit. And then we can be like, but who does this thing? Like this red flag that this person doesn't like, who does this? And bring that person up and have them kind of walk themselves through it. And now we're having a conversation. And the real point of it all would be to show you that like at the end of the day, like the red flag, the doing it and the other thing, like it all is like just mush and surface level at the end of the day. And like there's actually so much more that these two people have in common that we're letting this like one stupid thing get in the way of like what could otherwise be a great relationship. And it's just because you're fixated on that one thing. And so that's like my vision for it. I believe that I can pull that off. For
sure. Like 1,000%.
But it's going to take a lot of preparation to understand what the curriculum is and like what the what they'll
get out of it and
how it's structured in the first place, what the components of it would be, and then like thinking my way through and probably practicing that on a handful of people in that specific way.
Yeah, I think like again having like the workshop beforehand and having the 60 synergy going at that point, like we'll be talking with like a lot more people and couples and dating and singles, whatever it is, that like working through kind of like peeling back that onion.
Yeah.
Which again, you already do like very, very well.
Lead us first off, please like and subscribe, but also leave us a comment. What you think about that? How does that sound? Does that sound cool? Does that sound like something you'd like to watch? I'm sure it is. That sounds like something I would like to watch. The Tony Robbins interventions are
they're good.
The most fascinating thing. I could watch them all day long.
It's what?
Fascinating. So I think that, so if we're again looking at the things that we're working on, Detox Dating, and we kind of would make it, I think I'd want to make it like a fun wellness, because detox.
No, for sure.
So like a fun wellness like theme for everything. And then our friend last night was saying that she thought it'd be cool to have like a mixer afterwards, like kind of like a little bit of a party where like you have drinks afterwards. And now after this, kind of funny, but also kind of serious and kind of introspective thing, it's like everybody gets to kind of like mix and mingle, and that seems like an awesome like that sounds like a beautiful, perfect idea. There's
like that buildup of that tension throughout the entire program, and then there's like a break in it because it's like probably there's gonna be like comedic relief of people like breaking through some of their shit and being like, oh my god, like having those highs and like the swing.
Yeah, you have to balance the funniness. Like you have to make sure that it's funny and lighthearted in certain places, but then you're also taking other things like very seriously. But that's
so then having the mixer at the end would be great because it's a way for everyone to like release that energy. And then also say like someone is like, oh, I thought I had that ick, but like you got up and talked and like I kind of don't care about that ick. Like that's something we could work through.
Yeah.
But I think people are so stuck on this like, oh, that's a red flag. I don't even want to deal with it, or that's an ick. I don't even want to deal with it. To your point of, no, just like talk about it, communicate, work through it, and you actually may really like that person.
Yep. So again, please let us know what you think about that. I think it's a brilliant idea. The execution is what's key. So again, I look at that as like a late 2025 timeline to actually get something like that up and running, because again, I'd want to make sure production is fire. It's set up. I would want that to be a big turnout event, not like a small thing. I want that to be like a big hoorah one. And I do believe that could be our version of UPW. Maybe Date with Destiny.
Heck yeah. What did Tony start off with? Wasn't it like
he was
something?
just doing like little seminars.
Yeah.
I don't think it was even like necessarily
like a dozen people.
Yep. Let's end it there. That was perfect, right?
Yeah, I
Anything
think
else? I know that we wanted to do that, but we could save that.
Yeah, I think that's just interesting. We should definitely.
I had a really interesting conversation with ChatGPT earlier this week.
Yeah.
Or last week. I thought it was really interesting. So maybe we'll get to that. Mm-hmm. And I also just wanted to mention how I use ChatGPT because I was really against it for a very long time. Really against it. And I still am largely.
Especially now.
I use it in a very specific type of way. And even with me using it that way, the conversation that I had with this thing last week was still like really alarming and bizarre and strange. And then the way that it's reacted since then is strange. Yeah.
Stump.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Careful.
Cliffhanger for next time. All right. Good job, baby. See you, everybody. Peace out. Please, again, like, subscribe. Please.
Now that our YouTube link is working, please.
Breath by the weed.